No, I'm looking at the wrong screen. Hello.
Welcome to your awakening. Please take all as your reality is adjusted.
The start of that reminded me of Paula's computer breaking down, Cookie.
That was sort of my intention when I tried to put that together.
Yeah.
Make it look like
Mascara's already on it. Look. Do a rune.
Do a rune.
What, straight away? You want me to do it first?
Yeah.
Yeah, get it over with.
I could do it first instead. Or let me just check through tabs.
I think you should ask if Candice Owens is going to get assassinated.
Oh,
okay.
Or Tucker Carlson.
Or
who's
Tucker,
first?
or Nick Fuentes.
Okay, so any one of the three main.
Or Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes.
Yeah,
that's a good one too.
That's what Rob's. Yeah, that's what Rob's just said.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, I've got. I have a live chat running now. I look at the StreamYard chat rather than the YouTube chat. But you know what I'm like? I like to check that the streams are actually going on my own browser so I can see that they're working properly. I will do the rune in a minute.
Might work.
We will ask that question. But let's just have a quick hello first.
Check the Rumble.
Yes, Rumble was going as well. Mine's a bit delayed though. It's almost a couple of minutes behind, I think. By the looks of it, it's still catching up.
Yeah, when you switch tabs, it stops.
Yeah, I've noticed Rumble tends to lag
saves
behind.
memory. It saves
in
memory.
a good way. Yeah, it saves browser memory space. Yeah,
it does that.
But it just means when I'm flicking through my tabs, it looks a bit disjointed because it's always catching up.
Yeah.
But that's all right. As long as it's running, that's all I check mainly, just to see that it's actually functioning. So, yes, hello. Let's do the usual. Hello, welcome back once again. Another moon day evening. I hope you've been having fun with the change in the weather now. We're definitely fully into winter, if you hadn't noticed. I know some people were still a bit confused as to whether it was or wasn't winter. But
and almost to the day, Cookie. 1 month to go before the big day.
Yeah. I know you're excited.
I am.
Yeah, you're checking your list.
Yeah.
Getting ready for climbing down people's chimneys.
Yeah.
You need to check it again. Don't forget, you got to check it twice.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, getting silly already. We're going to have one of those evenings, I think. So, enjoy the Winterfest effect. You're not allowed to say Christmas. Not until it's Christmas anyway. But, we'll do that later. But we'll see how many times you can say Christmas just to let you know that you're not allowed to say Christmas. Okay?
Winter festivities.
Do a quick hello down the chat. James obviously was first in the chat. Of course he was. Well done, James. Yeah. He was there before even I got in the chat, which is just like magic. I'm starting to think that James is Skynet. Yeah. I'm starting to wonder if he was actually just an AI all along. And whenever we chat to him in the off-air after chats, he's actually an AI. And he's just like controlling us all to make sure we're doing the kind of stuff that he enjoys, It's just like, he's always there, always, which is a good thing, yeah. But yeah, he's always first in the chat, which is cool. And that's us in the chat, of course. See how long it takes me to scroll. I've got to scroll down several lines before I get to see anyone else. Rick, good evening. A mascara snake, good evening. Yes, I will do the rune in a moment. Roberto, word. Bird, greasy bird. Grease is the word. Bird is the word, but the word is the word. So we know the word is the bird. The greasy bird. I'm still scrolling, sorry. Doing my usual. Being distracted. Sonia, good evening. And Alberto, good evening. Don't have a cow, man. And Nicker Chief, good evening. 14 degrees this Thursday coming. I'm guessing that's what you mean, 14C this Thursday. So it's going back up again. What's going on? It's like the weather dipped and then it's coming back up again. Okay.
Anyone would think they're manipulating the weather.
You'd think that, wouldn't you? It would be, you know, you got to be careful about predicting what's going on there. You know. And Angry North, good evening.
Hello.
Right. Yes, I think I've reached the combination of the chat boxes so far. Yeah, hello, welcome back to the chat. And everybody in there, whether you were first or not, it doesn't matter. And of course, all the lurkers and the time travelers and all the people that just don't want to join in the chat, they're just hanging out. That's cool. Sorry, I'm flicking through tabs again like I keep doing.
Oh,
Get
Justin
back
is
to the
here.
StreamYard. There we go. Dustin, good evening, mate. I hope you're doing
Hi,
well.
mate. Hope you're all right, mate.
Yeah.
Some
And-
sad news.
Yeah,
Yeah.
family. Hope the family's okay.
Hope the family's okay. Yeah.
And High Plains Drifter, good evening. Yeah,
Hello.
speaking about that, I'll give a quick shout out for Kendo as well. Not a Dr. Rob tried to get in contact with him the other day, and he did eventually get a reply to let us know that yes, he's all right, thank you. Family's doing okay, thank you. And his daughter's doing a lot better. So she's her condition seems to be getting better, you know, for what you could say about that kind of thing, but it is getting better from what he let us know in his message. But yeah, thanks, Rob, for getting in touch with him, and I'm glad to hear he's okay and the family's okay.
Yeah, he's not coming into the chat. Someone said to me in one of the chat messages that his house is quite a cold house, and where his computer is, it's in the kitchen. It's in the kitchen, which is a cold room, and he says that he just doesn't want to be in there of an evening. Yeah. So that's why we haven't seen him online as well recently.
Yeah.
But he's okay, which is great, and it was good of him to reply back to him because we were a bit worried about him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And his daughter, of course. Yeah.
And Dustin as well. We got a lot of good wishes for you, mate.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's been a harsh winter so far, even though the temperature seems to have been a little bit generally higher. Maybe depends where you are.
Yeah, definitely going up. I just had a quick look.
It's going up now. We had snow yesterday, so that was early. Right. We had some early snow, I would say. Yeah,
just a little taster of winter weather.
Yes, a slither. Yeah.
As it says in the subtitle this week, we can try and predict the present, but you know, because we're talking about predicting the weather kind of thing. Mm-hmm. In a way that's sort of playing into that, especially in the UK. That's one of the things that's always been a cliche about the UK. You know, we have a lot of changeable weather because of where we are and because of the influence of the jet stream and that kind of thing. We've got the connection between the jet stream that can often bring in cold weather from the north, you know, can drag down the cold temperatures from the north. Yeah. And then we've got the Atlantic warm water feed that comes up from the equator and runs up the side of Spain and Portugal and whatever, and sort of filters up to just touch the edge of us. You know, it gets south of Ireland, and it gets Cornwall, and it just about reaches into that area, such that we'll often get an addition.
How do we call those things, Cookie? Because it seems like a lot of weather reporters seem to forget that these cycles have a name.
Is it the AMO? I want to say AMOC, but I'm not sure.
No, it's El Nino and La Nina.
Oh, they're Pacific, aren't they?
Yeah, but they are related to the current. We are now in the La Nina phase, so the North American shelf kind of gets the brunt of it, gets colder weather, more snow, more shit. So it's La Nina now. And it's related to the sun. It's always at a solar maximum. We're at the La Nina, and then the solar minimum. We're at the El Ninos. So we get more thunderstorm, more hurricanes and storms, and
more extreme variable weather. Or the variables that happen normally become more extreme. That's what I mean. The oscillation gets more severe.
It's not mentioned anymore. Everybody's saying, "Oh, climate change. Oh, yeah. Well, due to climate change, the fucking Pacific is it's
in the same way for
cycles
us here in the UK. I mean, don't forget the fact that Millibot, being the robot that he is,
ASMR Millibot,
which is why I refer to him as Millibot, because in these difficult times, these strikes are wrong. If you remember that reference, that was from quite a few years ago, when he was doing an interview with some journalist, and they were asking him his opinion about the strikes that were going on at the time, and he literally just kept repeating the same talking point phrase that he'd been given as a response. But the journalist kept asking it, so he just kept rearranging the words in the sentence. He kept saying, like, these strikes are wrong at this time, or at this time these strikes are wrong, or it would be wrong to have the strikes at this time. Literally, like, several times he was asked the same question, and he just kept rewording the sentence.
Yeah.
So he is literally a fucking robot. The guy is a robot. He's a by choice career politician. Him and his brother.
He's a salesman. He's selling something.
Him and his brother have been in the industry of parasitics for pretty much their entire life. I think that's a good way to define a lot of politics. It is just an industry of parasites.
Yeah, benefits.
So him pushing this net zero concept, they made I'm not saying this to give them praise, but they certainly made a good choice when he was selected to carry this forward, because he's so robotic, because he doesn't care whether he has comprehension of what he's saying. He'll just literally repeat the key phrase. So telling us all that we are the carbon that is causing the climate crisis, and repeatedly telling us that they're going to introduce the net zero target goals, which is going to mean that there's going to be more legislation gradually introduced over the next few years that is going to be along the lines of the heat pump requirements, and also that will obviously include carbon credits, or the potential of carbon credits. This is another bit that ties into, or is tied to, the digital ID requirement. This is why they're so determined to persuade us that we're going to have the digital ID one way or another. But before I carry on digressing into ranting about Millibot, because he was just an extra example that came to mind that I hadn't actually put in my notes. But yeah, he's another one that's been out recently doing the rounds, not necessarily in the last few days, but certainly over the last few weeks. He's been trotting around, as well as going to that COP30 meetup of big parasites in the Amazon.
Yeah, the fire missed him though.
Yeah, he'd already left. Yeah, before all that happened. I think
Did you see another volcano blew up, and now in Nairobi or somewhere in Africa, which never exploded since God knows how long. Nothing. So yeah.
What fault? Is it near a fault line?
I don't know, but it was dormant for well over multiple hundreds of years, and now it's active. So
if it's near Nairobi, that's somewhere central Africa.
Let me check it. Let me check that one.
Okay, cool. That interesting as well. The connection between the solar activity recently. I did point this out last week, and on Wednesday, we had a little spurt of quite high activity from the sun as it was going over its peak of maximum. So those X-class flares that we had, they've been buffeting us over the last week.
Ethiopia,
definitely sort of, northeast center, isn't it? Yeah. And that's definitely on the major tectonic line between the African continent and the Indian Ocean. I can't remember the name of that plate.
Well, the whole line is blowing up at the moment because that's number 30 now. That's active.
Right. We going which way, north or south? Do you know? I'm just
Look it up,
curious
probably.
which way the force is being.
I get it. I get what you're saying. Let me share this. So people can see.
It sort of adds into the concept of predicting the present as well. That I was going to be talking about, in the sense of there is a whole lot of stuff going on. The reason why I wanted to use this subtitle, this concept, to talk about tonight is because often many people will put out videos, they'll put out content, you know, they've all done it. I try to not get too fixed on certain dates. I tend to talk in generalities rather than specific dates, but this concept of people like to make predictions about what is going to happen when, you know, so often in that kind of generalized sense, like I just mentioned, I'll often refer to 2030, yeah, as in the Agenda 2030, which is just what they moved Agenda 21 to, simply because most of the goals they wanted to hit with Agenda 21 didn't happen. A handful did. They successfully managed to push in a handful of ideas that were originally part of the Agenda 21 project, but the rest just got pushed down the line. Yeah, they got kicked down the road. And that's partly why I'm thinking along the lines of, in a way, I'm sort of paraphrasing the Orwell quote, who controls the future controls the past. Who controls the future controls the present. I'm misremembering it now. I need to look it up on the phone. I didn't keep a note of it, did I? Yeah, who controls the present controls the future, and who controls the future controls the past, and who controls the past controls the present. I'm misremembering it, but it goes along those lines.
Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past.
Right, there you go. Thank you.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's the actual quote. Yeah.
Orwell.
Yeah.
The Ministry of Truth. That's where we're at. So if you're wondering where we're at the Ministry of Truth here.
But that led me in my thinking to talking about not just that, but there's been other things that have been happening recently that are things, like I mentioned, you know, a lot of people like to put out content where they predict what is going to happen in a future tense. You know, they predict that things are going to happen. Like, this is one of classic, like, David Icke kind of ideas as well. Even, you know, like in a similar vein, he tends to talk in general timescales, not specific dates, but it's still one of his main things that he's often been trying to predict to people, you know, what's coming down the pipe, as it were.
Well, who comes to mind is Ben Davidson at the moment, but
the catastrophism cycle.
Yeah. He could be onto something, I don't know, but yeah.
You know, I think he is, mate.
I've
been on that same thread for many, many years. 2 decades. Yeah.
But he's getting very certain of himself right now, so yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've never really liked about him. But that's just
he's locking himself in now in a certain time frame, so that could be very dangerous for his career, because if it doesn't happen, then everybody's gonna say, "Well, boy cries wolf."
Yeah, he got close to it the last time.
Yeah,
when he claimed that
that's
this
my
current
problem,
cycle,
right? With
originally he was claiming this current cycle could be the potential minima. Yeah, but it didn't actually turn out to be that. It's a low cycle, because we're still on the long scale, which is very, very similar to the Mayan calendar long scale. In fact, it's almost identical. Yeah, that's what the Mayans were measuring, was the solar cycles, which brings, or should bring into your questioning, how did they have such a scale of time? Because if they supposedly only started their existence, according to the academics, in the early medieval period, like the mid-first millennia, you know, you're talking 500 or 600 AD, allegedly, according to what they tell us. Wow. And they only, as a civilization, survived till the early thousands. Yeah, so you're talking like late 900 AD is when it all started to fall apart for them, allegedly, blah, blah, blah. But in that time scale of their existence as a civilization, as a culture, they came up with a way of measuring time on scales that match a solar cycle that you're talking is 250,000 years, approximately.
Mm-hmm. That's my biggest problem, right? Because in history...
256,000 years. Yeah. 256,000 years, I should say. Sorry, mate, go on.
No, well, the ancients kept a very close record of all the fucking stuff in the sky.
Yeah.
And I don't think that micronovas and those things were an issue. I don't know, but...
I think it depends on how far back you go and how much you think the world got fucked up the last time it happened.
Yeah. If he means a big CME event, then yeah, you could call that a micronova, but I don't know.
Yeah, but it's beyond CME.
Potato, right?
Yeah. You're getting beyond what we currently know as a CME, which is purely or primarily...
That's what he's proposing. Yeah. That's his
plasmatic.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about energetic or electrical force.
Yeah.
Whereas what he's talking about as a micronova
it's a cyclical...
literally the outputting of physical matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because if this is going along the lines of what the science sort of indicates, and it's still a theoretical possibility, not a proven fact.
No.
But the heliosphere will develop, in effect, what you could call a crust. And that's what causes the alleged 3 days of night, the pseudo eclipse that's meant to happen, according to some of the prophecies and whatever.
Yeah.
But that calcification of the outer shell of the sun's activity causes physical crust to be formed. That, of course, contains the output of the sun, which causes a feedback that leads to an explosive result. That's the micronova. Mm-hmm. So basically, the sun's descent in terms of its output power, in other words, going into what they call a grand solar minima, in other words, the lowest output possible, that causes a crust to form. The forming of the crust causes a feedback loop to occur, like a greenhouse effect on the surface of the sun. That builds up pressure like a kettle, and eventually that explodes. That pressure has to be released somehow. So what you're talking about is not just the energetic, plasmatic output that's going to hit us from a micronova that will be like an X1000 flare, or higher or worse. But you're also going to get potentially physical matter crashing into us, like being bombarded by an asteroid field.
Yeah, but that's the problem with our sun. We don't have a supernova sun.
Not
we have
according
an M-class red. No,
not according to standard model physics.
No.
Right? That's part of the problem.
Well, we haven't observed any red star kind of a class go supernova, right? It doesn't have either enough mass or whatever.
I don't know.
But it's not big enough. Like, our sun is impressive, but if you compare it to other stars that are out there, it's fucking tiny. It's not even,
Yeah, but that's not what governs
in the top 10 even.
Micronovas.
It does. You do need a lot of mass, kind of to supernova means like a massive fucking impulse of gamma rays, right? Gamma rays, is it?
Stop trying to apply standard models to it. No.
Yeah, but that's what Davidson does. He doesn't go into electric universe either.
Yeah, he does.
No.
His whole principle is
he loves NASA,
universe theory.
No, mate. Whenever NASA publishes a paper about fucking the sun,
he talks about it. Yeah.
He loves to talk about it. So, no.
But when he's talking about the cycles of the sun and the potential of a micronova, he's talking electric universe theory, not standard model. I guarantee you, I've been following him for like 12 years.
I know.
More than that even. Yeah, and it's not just him.
You know where he comes from, right? You know what he is, right? Originally.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's a corporate statistician.
No, he was a lawyer, and he fucking crashed and burned, and then he turned weatherman. But that's okay.
His origin in terms of his content on YouTube comes originally from the Electric Universe and the Thunderbolts project.
Could be.
Could be.
But he loves to fucking loves it. Whenever mainstream touches on his fucking ideas, right? Look! I found a paper that proves my theory. Right? He goes after that like yeah. So I don't trust him like he's an electric universe anything. Whatever suits his agenda, right? Whatever works for him, that he'll pick that up. He'll yeah. So that's what I'm seeing. But
so your main problem is he likes catastrophism.
yeah.
See, I don't take catastrophism from just Ben Davidson, but you seem to be pointing at him and implying that the only reason we have a consideration of catastrophism is just because of him and what he's promoting.
No, I'm not saying that, but that's his
So
angle.
do you discount catastrophism full stop?
No, catastrophes happen. Yeah.
So it's just a matter that you don't like the
but
way
the likelihood that
Davidson,
the sun micronovas or novas is very, 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 very extremely small.
yeah, it doesn't
That's what
make
I
it
think.
Impossible.
No, but you know,
Exclude the impossible, and whatever's left, however improbable,
yeah.
is likely the truth.
Okay, then I have to include flat Earth.
Oh man, now you're taking the piss just because you want to attack Ben Davidson. If you want to just say you don't like him and the way he does it, so fair enough, right? But he's not the only source of catastrophism, and he's certainly not the only source of the electric universe theory.
No, but that's separate. That's separate.
Yeah.
I see those separate. His ideas are separate too. He has his own kind of a niche that he found, and he's big on.
Okay.
So
we've digressed.
I hope his theory isn't proven right. That's all I can say, Cookie. Really, because I don't know. Because it's a theory, and I'll take it into account. I'll put it in the back of my head, but I'm not gonna It's not gonna dominate my life.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna worry about the sun micronovaing, because if it does, we're done.
Okay, so that's your choice, right?
Yeah.
I'm still going to talk about it.
Same with comets, same with other shit, right?
Yeah.
Like tsunamis and all those things. Yeah.
Okay. So, like I said, you don't like catastrophism.
No.
And you certainly don't like Ben Davidson.
No, because he's selling Viapoa.
So can we carry on?
Yeah, go on.
So the concept of the solar minima comes from the electric universe theory, not from Ben Davidson. And that concept, that theory, includes the potential that in its lowest cycle state, the plasma generation that forms the sun in the first place can cause the formation of a crust. That crust will create a feedback effect, a greenhouse, what they call a greenhouse effect, that will cause it to boil like a kettle and eventually explode. That could potentially throw literal physical matter our direction. And when you consider that the sun, even though you like to say it's not a big one compared to others out there, according to NASA, okay, but it's still 1 billion times the mass of the Earth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in terms of scale, it's about 1,000 times bigger than the Earth. So only a small...
It's 1 million times bigger.
I'm not sure if it's... like just a visual
It's a
scale.
lot bigger. Yeah.
Yeah. But the point I'm making is that even a small amount of some kind of crust from that larger body hitting us, whatever face of the planet is facing the sun, is going to get fucking obliterated. So when you talk about what kind of knowledge survived, like, because the original reference was talking about the fact that the Maya were using a calendar that measures solar cycles on a scale of 250,000 plus years. I think it's 256,000 years, but I'm not certain, so don't quote me on that. I might be getting the number slightly wrong, but it's approximately 250,000 years, yeah? How would a culture that has only existed for a few hundred years come to the conclusion that they need to calculate that length of time of a solar cycle? That to me indicates that they may very well, not proven, but they may very well have been referencing knowledge from a lot earlier than their so-called culture was meant to exist according to the academic timeline. So potentially humanity has been through one of these events before, but we survived. According to the archaeological record, there was a period of almost extinction for Homo sapiens sapien, where they estimated that the numbers of people on the entire planet were only a few thousand. So something occurred in the ancient past, and you're talking hundreds of thousands of years ago, yeah? Something occurred that caused the near extinction of us.
I know some people are a bit dubious about Archaic's work, but I remember him quoting a book that he found about, it was quite an old book, and it talked about the how, I think it was, I can't remember what year it was, but basically it talked about blackouts for years in, you know, the sun was blacked out and stuff, Cookie.
Yeah,
and that there was not many, and that people were suffering, and there was not, the race was barely surviving. And it was written in this book. Whether that book was true or not, or whether it was propaganda, I don't know. But you could be right in what you're saying there.
Well, it's in a lot of the ancient scriptures from all different cultures.
Yes. Yeah.
The flood myth is universal. It's not located just to around the area of the Levant, like is often argued by academics, that according to them, that like Noah mythology and the idea of the flood was very localized to the Middle East, and potentially like it matches some of the geological data that shows there used to be large areas of water in a certain area in what they call the Levant, which is that bit where the Asian continent connects to the African continent, basically. Yes, there's evidence of that, but that ignores the fact that the very mythology is literally global and universal, all throughout whatever history we can find. Or it's in the Vedas, it's in all ancient documents. It's mentioned in one way or another. Yeah. So the concept that there's been some kind of catastrophe in our historical existence as Homo sapiens sapien, I mean, it could cross the species boundary to pre-Homo sapien. I'm not certain on that, but whatever. Let's just deal with Homo sapiens sapien, modern humans. We've been around for at least, according to the academics, nearly 300,000 years they've admitted to now. When I was going through school, they taught us it was 150,000 years, approximately, yeah? Over the course of my own lifetime of further research being done, which includes independent researchers, people that were considered fringe science or heretical science, that kind of thing, it's now been altered. The academics has now accepted that Homo sapiens sapiens have been around for at least around 300,000 years recorded, yeah? Because there's been more evidence found as more research is carried on. There's been stuff found of ancient human settlements that go back to 20,000+ years at least, where they can find archaeological evidence. The concept of civilization goes back a lot further than what most of us older people were taught originally in school. Yeah,
I've got something here. Around 536 AD, a volcanic eruption in Iceland released ash and aerosols into the atmosphere, creating a persistent fog that dimmed sunlight for approximately 18 months across Europe, the Middle East, and parts of Asia.
Yeah, that's what's happening right now. That's what
this event, known as the Late Antique Little Ice Age, caused temperatures to drop to 35 Fahrenheit and 37, led to crop failures, famine, and widespread suffering. Historical accounts from the time describe the sun appearing dim like the moon, with no shadows visible at noon.
Yeah, that's another part of it as well, is the fact that for many of us, so I'll speak for myself, from my own personal experience, and I know this correlates with a lot of other people I've heard talk about this concept. When I was younger, up until my early 20s at least, the sun was yellow. It was not white.
Yeah, I agree.
Ever since the late 90s, or certainly the mid-90s onwards, it's gradually become whiter and whiter. It's gone from yellow to being now almost white constantly. Yeah, some people have suggested that that's because of the amount of particulates in the atmosphere. That's possible. It could also indicate the cycle change that's occurring on the sun. Because from what we know, and again, you've got to remember that we've only we've only got a certain amount of historical records to access, according to all the academics. Yeah. So in that sense, it's similar to when they tried to bullshit us about the weather changes. They've only got 100 years of acknowledged records, and even then,
yeah, you're in the Western,
those,
but in the East, it's not. In China, it's not. You know, they have a very consistent record of sun records and all that.
For sunspots, yes, they've got many hundreds of years. I think a couple of thousand years.
Thousands
in China, a couple of thousand. Right? No, I don't think it's more than that, but. Yeah, the point is
we do use their records to kind of see back in time to see certain events like the ice age that we had in 1600s, right? The short ice age. It was 14 years of an ice age that we had.
Yeah.
So a lot of paintings that we had here in Holland by the Dutch masters.
Skating on the Thames.
Skating. Everybody was skating everywhere. Like you could skate everywhere. But that's not.
We're talking about large-scale catastrophes.
No, but it could relate that to a record that they found in China about something that happened, about a comet or whatever, a volcano, or they were way more advanced at registering these things at other cultures, and we use those records as well, like to verify stuff like that. So yeah.
So the main point being, there have been. Major catastrophes on a global scale that were big enough to influence pretty much every culture, or certainly the ones that we can find records of, to record a mythology of a major catastrophe. They call it a flood usually, It's almost always referenced as a flood, but often the stories or the mythology will include references to stuff falling out the sky.
Yeah, they were much more aware of the long cycles, right? Like
exactly.
We are very aware of weekly and monthly and yearly cycles. They are very aware of 1,000-year cycles, 10,000-year cycles. So
exactly.
Yeah,
and they were concerned with monitoring that time scale.
Yeah.
So this is originally,
and I totally agree with all that, Cookie.
About catastrophism. Yeah. I don't discount catastrophism. So to me, it's something that you shouldn't just dismiss as, it's just people selling fear porn. No, there is reality to catastrophe cycles. There is a reality that the planet goes through major cyclical changes.
Yes.
Whether that even be the ice age, you accept that there's cycles of ice ages.
Okay, I started this by pointing out that fucking volcano blowing up now in Africa, right? It's number 30 right now. So the sun is fucking influencing the earth. That has always been the case. And people have noticed over the centuries, all this stuff. And they have determined there are cycles in the moon, in the sun, in El Nino, La Nina, solar heights, solar lows. They recorded every fucking thing, right? The 72,000-year cycle, the progression, right? We're progressing as well. Our Earth is fucking tilting in the fucking wrong way now against the sun. So we're gonna get different seasons as well, because slowly our Earth is tilting another way again. So. Right, so everything changes constantly. So I totally agree with that, and we should take notice. The sun is and the bringer of life and the bringer of all the bad stuff.
The chronological stuff analysis that Archaics has done predicts that that we're going to have a catastrophe in 2040. So, and he thinks it's a recurring 138-year cycle with destructive episodes.
Yeah.
So that's what he says anyway. So.
Yeah. And now we have more people saying shit like that. So, I'm very doubtful about that, because, I there's not much I can do about it either, right? So I feel like, okay, it's great that you tell me that, the world is going to end in 2012. You sound a bit like the climate change people, but okay. It doesn't help me. It doesn't help me in my daily life. I don't know what to do with this information, right? So, and that's my problem with doomsday prophecies.
Yeah. So you never been a Boy Scout?
I know there's a lot of bad stuff that can happen, mate.
Listen, boys, we were talking about...
can hit us tomorrow, and we're like the dinosaurs. So
we were talking about prepping just before the show, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's for a 3-day blackout, Robert. So I'm
you
ready
hope
for
it.
that.
What is by definition prepping?
Yeah, it's still prepping, Pete, isn't it?
Yeah. I know. I'm always prepped, Rob.
And it's
by the
not,
way.
and it's not being doomsday about it. It's just
No, I think you should always be prepped. So I am prepped.
Exactly. And what is prepping based upon?
Yeah, doomsday
Predictions.
Hmm.
Do you not see how? Yeah.
Yeah, I get it, Cookie.
Yeah, I was trying to get to that point, but you.
I was being facetious and a bit, devil's advocate here.
You felt a need to make sure that to let everyone know.
Yeah,
you
to
really
let
dislike
everybody
Ben
know that I don't like
Davidson.
Ben Davidson because he's
Yeah,
a fucking failed
okay.
lawyer and he's like a
Yeah.
cunt. But okay, yeah, I
We
like him.
can't
I
all-
like him though because
Yeah, but-
on one hand I like him and on the other hand I don't like him because yeah.
we can't
It-
always agree to agree.
Yeah,
No.
well, I know, I'm
That's
playing
what
that.
I-
I
that's
love
what
to
I love
play that
about
role
it.
as well. I love, so.
We can agree that there's some things that we all disagree on.
Yes. Yeah.
Cookie won't kill me for this. I know
That was very quantum, isn't it? Yeah,
And as Spanish Chicken says, insurance is prepping.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, he's going to do his rune now, mascara.
Oh,
Here we go.
there we go.
I've made this point before. Just think about pretty much everything you do in your life. It involves an element of time travel because you're doing things like, oh, what am I going to have for dinner tonight? Planning ahead. Oh, do you remember when we went to so-and-so? We had a great time. Remembering the past, living in the past and reliving those moments to get the juice of the emotional content of that experience. You're always time traveling. And a lot of the time it involves some form of prediction. You may not think of it as a prediction because, predicting sounds a bit too much like astrology, that you're doing something playing around with stupid magic and whatever. But it's not. It's just about planning for the future because there's certain things about how this deterministic 3D experience occurs that means you can make plans.
You have to agree with me that doomsday talk is absolutist, right? So that could set people off on a like, oh, I don't have to prep for the future at all because there is no future.
Yeah, I've made that point myself.
I don't like that.
Yeah, it's
I don't like that.
From doomerism. Yes, I agree.
Okay.
I don't think that's what he does.
Have you seen the fucking video I put in the day?
Yes.
Doomsday, doom. Yeah. Literally.
Whilst you're doing that, Cookie, we've been joined by Steve Tagoose since the start of the show. And also, I believe, Genuinely Concerned has joined us as well.
Yeah, he was there as El Barto. He's El Barto on YouTube.
Oh, is he? Oh, right. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mahat Malevolence is here. Birds aren't real, says Mahat.
No, pigeons aren't. I got a fake one.
Look this up.
Cookie is now doing his rune, and the subject matter is: are any of the following going to be assassinated?
Yeah.
Is it Candace Owens? Is it Tucker Carlson? Or is it Nick Fuentes?
Fuentes. Ay.
And Candace Owens made her was on X today, saying that she believes that she's going to be assassinated. I believe, isn't that right, Pete?
Yep. But a lot of people have been saying that as an insurance.
Yeah.
And Lops has also joined us as well.
You might as well say it because if you're wrong, what's going to happen? People will just say you got it wrong. You were being overly paranoid or something.
And if you're right, then everybody's going to point at Israel. So there you go.
I've got to do the double glasses thing, and I think I need a prescription upgrade. I was defense. That's what it's mainly known as. Also connected to the U tree. We are tested. We fund the power to avert blockage and defeat. At the same time, we're developing ourselves an aversion to the conduct that creates stressful situations in our lives. That sounds a little bit like self-censorship. That seems to be what it's referred to. There appears to be a blockage in your path. A delay could prove beneficial. Do not be overly eager to press forward. In other words, you've encountered some kind of natural delay, but that could be Providence trying to indicate something to you. As in, yeah, you may think that this is a delay, but you should maybe take the moment of this delay to consider what the fuck you're doing and the path you're following. Yeah, so it's like being forced by natural occurrence to stop and take a breath and think for a moment. That's a bit of a obtuse connection to the question. Maybe that means that it's a good possibility that one of them might be, but maybe we should stop and consider why we're even asking that question in the first place. Maybe that could be indicative of the self-fulfilling effect of be careful what you wish for kind of forewarning, you know? The runes, I feel the runes are basically saying, you ask this question in a way that there's no alternative. So in other words, it's like you're saying, pick one of these three that has to die. Maybe you should reconsider that, yeah? Maybe I'm thinking too much about it, but that's partly what the runes are meant for, to get you thinking, get you to introspect a little bit on subjects. So let me check.
Interesting.
Your notes. Possibly, yeah. Like I said, it's a bit of an obtuse connection.
It's good to have a breather.
To the question.
I think it's good that we have a moment to fucking think about what path we're on, maybe, right?
Well, in my notes, I'd actually written 3 different titles that I could have used for tonight. I had 3 ideas running in my head of how to present this idea. One is obviously the one we ended up using. Oh, good evening, Ulik. The one we used, predicting the present, because I thought it sort of resolves that reality of you always existing in 3 time phases all at the same time, but you're always in the present. And like we've talked about, you know, that kind of idea that people like to try and predict what could be happening, but it all relates to the fact from the present. Like the Orwell quote points out that, you know, it's about who controls the present, because they can make of the future whatever they decide to tell you, and they can rewrite all the history books so they can make the past whatever the fuck they want. Yeah. But the alternative ideas I had was predicting the past. Again, trying to play on that Orwellian idea that we know they've been rewriting history. And one of my examples to make reference to this is recently, and you had it in the Daily today. Yeah, I mentioned, I think it was either on Wednesday or Monday last week, that the Labour, somebody had noticed and made it known on the internet that the Labour Party had removed the copy of their manifesto on the website, on the government website. And then we know there's a budget review coming up where Rachel Reeves is probably going to end up raising some kind of tax, which was one of the promises they made, that they would not raise any tax during their term of office. So in other words,
clearly racist.
They've erased the manifesto to change the record of history.
Racist lie.
And now, if anyone brings up that question of, didn't you in your manifesto promise to not raise any, they'll make up some bullshit like the clip that Pete used in his Daily today of Starmer doing literally that, doing the when he was asked that
I had to cut
question.
it off because it was like 3 minutes of that. Like, no answer.
Yeah, not answering the question and dancing around bullshit. Yeah,
a lot of words, no answer. He's very good at that. I have to give it.
It just goes on to prove that it doesn't matter what people promise in manifestos. The British public will just suck it up and take it up right up the arse, and they'll vote for the same idiot again in the next
voting
election.
is fake, mate. These votes are not real. These votes are generated.
That segues me nicely into the third option that I'd come up with, which was being the bad guy. And this
Yeah, we
relates
should think like that more.
synchronistically. This relates to that what I was saying about the result from the rune cast. Yeah, was that I'm starting to get the impression that they will be as bad as we expect. And part of the reason they do things the way they do, part of the reason the very system itself is being built on a principle of inversion, is because, like the portrait of Dorian Gray, they will be the bad guy that we expect them to be. So if we expect them to do this kind of shit, they will. So in that sense, us considering them as the bad guy, and by implication, exactly right. I mean, this does raise the question that a lot of people like to refer to as manifestation, which I don't agree with the simplistic way it's presented. Regular listeners know I've talked out against things like the idea of the secret and shit like that for years. So I don't think manifesting works in the way that many people try to sell it as. Yeah, but I do think there is a reality to the epigenetic formation of our environment that we participate in, because we live in a shared environment. Like I mentioned earlier, sorry, this was before we started on air, we were talking about my difficulties with my connection at the moment, not this internet connection, but my other connected devices, and considering ways that I could do it using an Ethernet cable to set things up. Because, again, regular listeners will know, because I've said this many times over the years, I do whatever I can to avoid using wireless technology. So I don't use Bluetooth, I don't use Wi-Fi. I will not connect. I will not have the Wi-Fi turned on my system unless I need to for some reason. Yeah. And I made the point that if all of us did that, if all of us lived like that, the consumer cycle system would adjust to consumer demand, and we'd have a lot more wired devices. The system itself wants us to be wireless for various reasons, but there's some structural reasons to how they plan this technocracy system to work that rely on the use of wireless-based technologies. Yeah, they can't guarantee that you're going to be connected in via a wire at any place where you are. You know, so to have true 24/7 surveillance on you, they need to apply wireless technologies. So that's why they've given us this narrative for 2 decades now that wireless is great and everyone loves it, and isn't it so convenient that you don't have to have a wire connected to your connection? Yeah, this is part of it. Yeah?
Can I add a doomsday caveat to that one, Cookie?
Yeah.
Space-based wireless internet.
Satellite. Yeah.
So it's not just SpaceX right now. Amazon has a network up now as well. It's called Leo. It's active. You can download at a speed of 1280 megabytes a second.
Statnet.
Yeah. So it's what's it? The Terminator movie. Skynet. That's it. It's there. It's here. Yeah. It's unavoidable.
I mean, in terms of military, they've had that kind of stuff up there for a long time. But making it commercially, that is part of that next stepping stone up. Yes, because then it will be no good. What they like to call themselves Blade Runners. It'd be no good the Blade Runners cutting down the NPR cameras. Yeah, because there'll be other devices that will be reading from satellite that they can't cut down. Yeah.
It means your smart device can connect to the internet through the space.
Through satellite, so it doesn't need. That's what I mean. They can cut down all the satellite phone masts that they like.
All the ground-based bullshit.
But you'll still be surveilled via the satellite
Totally.
system.
Yes.
But that's the point where I say the manifestation that is being enabled by our participation, which includes just being apathetic to the situation, because you're acquiescing by apathy. If you don't even say no, the least you can do is say no. Obviously, there's a lot more you can do, but that's for each individual to figure out what works for them and what they're willing to do and blah blah blah. Yeah, because there's potential consequences for everything you try to do against this empire. I'll refer to it as the empire, because I think we are starting to get to that stage where it's very much like the empire in Star Wars. Yeah, it's become the evil entity that exists just for the sake of its own existence. It potentially doesn't really need us anymore. Yeah, we're just cogs in a machine. It only needs a certain number of us to function. So,
Yeah.
hence a lot of the doomerism to do with how large numbers of population could potentially be killed off one way or another.
Yeah, but that's where I'm saying, like, there's a point where you cannot say no anymore.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's
Like
that's where we're
Starlink,
at
Pete.
now. It's
That's
just like
why
Starlink. Yeah.
This is why in the end, I chose to be predicting the present being the title, because I think it is that relevance of, I know I've been banging this drum, and I'm not just trying to blow my own horn in that respect, but there have been subjects and ideas that we've talked about for literally years on these broadcasts. Not just me, but the bunch of us that have sort of worked together doing this kind of stuff, and not just this channel, not just this broadcast, but on other related broadcasts or people we interact with, friends that we know online, content creators, etc. We have been talking about these kind of things for years now, and now you are literally seeing them being implemented. There's a various few examples I want to go through, which we can do after the hour. I'm not going to jump over to Rumble only tonight, because thank you, Rob, for testing whether you could get away with talking about that story last week, because that was the only reason I made the jump over to Rumble, because I thought YouTube might shut me down because of talking about that COVID story. But you did it, and that seemed to have been okay with you doing it. So I think these subjects should be all right that I'm going to reference. But there's been a few things recently where it's been just blatantly obvious in your face that they are now starting to flick the on switch for a lot of the stuff that we talked about from years ago that may have seemed theoretical or just fictional, fantastical to many people. I know they did for many people, yeah. But as the time has ticked over and more things have occurred, I feel it's becoming more and more blatantly obvious in your face that you can't deny this shit anymore. They are literally building a technocratic prison around us, and our participation in it is being tricked by manipulating the way we perceive the reality we're experiencing. That's done in many different ways. Part of it is the kind of doomerism, to make you apathetic so that you don't decide that you want to do something in your neighborhood, with your life, with your energy, etc. You just throw the towel in and think, oh well, the asteroid's going to come tomorrow, so why bother?
No, it kind of makes me wish for that fucking asteroid and the sun to explode.
But it needs to be a selective asteroid.
Yeah, well,
I'd prefer,
please stop, Big Brother, now.
I'd prefer an X50 solar flare, right? That would do.
Yeah, that would do. Yeah.
I know it would cause an immense amount of chaos. I know there would be casualties, but it would deal with this technocracy literally instantly. Because every electrical device on the planet would be fucked, including all storage, every bit of data that's stored in a digital fashion of one form or another, magnetic media or whatever, all gone. So all you're left with is hard copy.
Yeah,
so everyone would have to go back to using books. Everyone would have to go back to using paper and pencil and all that kind of shit. Yeah, that's the reset that we actually would benefit from, despite in a way, it's a little bit like pulling the plaster off quickly. Yes, you'll experience a little bit of pain, but once it's done, you'll be fucking thankful. You'll be blissful in the release of that sense of pain, because it will be over and done with then. If that makes sense, as a bastardized metaphor. But they do it through doomerism. They do it through hopium. They convince people, oh, don't worry about it. The robots will save us. Don't worry about it. The government knows how to do all this stuff with genetics. They'll cure cancer any second now. AI is going to make working obsolete. Everybody will get free money because the AI will just pump money out whenever we want.
Trust the Q plan.
Yeah, trust the Q. It's a bit like Santa Claus kind of shit, right?
Yeah.
But you get the idea. You know, they manipulate our experience and our perception and the information we get access to. They manipulate as much as they can whenever they get the chance, so that it corrupts our perception, so that then we make bad calculations, we make bad choices, we make bad plans. That's why some simple prepping is not something you should be weirded out by. It's not something strange and unusual like they portray it. And it's just some common sense. Even they themselves have admitted that whenever they try to sell us this war narrative propaganda, they tell you things like, oh, make sure you got a flashlight or some candles in your cupboard. Make sure you got a little bit of food on hand, blah, blah. They tell you to prep now. Yeah. So that, again, is acknowledgement that they know that those kind of ideas are not bad or silly or weird or strange. They don't mean that you're some kind of weird freak conspiracy theorist. They just mean you got some common sense and you want to make yourself a bit more safe and secure in the future if something unusual happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Before we go into the second hour, I want to show something nice.
Okay.
It's the Earth's heartbeat. Oh,
the human.
Watch.
Did he say plant growth?
It's the day cycle and the oxygen. I think the release of oxygen into
the equivalent of the plants opening and closing if they've got petals.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like breathing, like.
Yeah. Cool, nice. Yeah, it's a really nice visualization. Huh?
Yeah, Earth is beautiful, guys.
It's certainly better than the one I'm going to play for you. And this is deliberate for some other reason that came up in the news today, which I will explain after we've listened to it, after we've watched it.
Mm-hmm.
It is
Can we play Rob's promo as well before we do that? Because Rob has his promo ready for tomorrow. Yeah, because we're going to switch. Here we go.
One hit wonders on how freedom became. Send you one hit wonders, music choice in the chat. One hit wonders on how freedom became. With not a doctor.
Yeah, it's me again, and Rob again.
Cool.
Yeah, yep, it's us again. So
it's us again.
There is a link to the Rumble show. I can't put the Rumble show up yet because it never allows you to. But there is, if you want to put your request in the Rumble advert, I've just put the link in the show notes here. Oh no, it won't let me. Oh, it does.
I did see.
It's gone in the chat.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, Rumble exclusive because you're playing music. Yeah,
because I'm playing music. So yeah, come and join us tomorrow and bring your one-hit wonder requests, please.
Yeah.
Part 2.
Definitely, Lopsum. Good evening, mate. Yes, definitely. That's a good way of describing it. Yeah.
Yep.
People on death row don't give it much thought. They just get on with their day.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they ignore it. Doesn't mean they don't hear it. They hear it, they acknowledge it, and then they get on with their day.
Yeah.
That's the best you can do for now. But yeah, I'm going to play this.
Living in the now. That's what they're doing. They're living in the now.
I will explain why I chose this afterwards. But some of it may be obvious to you. But yeah, we'll come back in about 6 minutes. It's a bit of a loud one, so be forewarned. Back in a little bit.
One
I love this track. How this is not mainstream, I don't understand. Like,
Killing Joke had never been mainstream.
no, but fuck hell, yeah.
It's part of the
Should
thing,
be.
though. You know, and I wish I could remember the guy's name now. Something Colewood or Coleman. Basically, one of the main creative people in Killing Joke. I can't remember what part he plays, whether he's a guitarist or whatever. I don't remember. Sorry. But I caught the news today. This is thanks to the UK column. Give them a shout out for this, because I didn't see this anywhere else. Then again, you know, it might have been there. I just didn't look, but whatever. Yeah, this one guy has been selected by the UN to, because he's transitioning from being a member of bands like Killing Joke, because that wasn't the only thing he worked on. He worked with other people on other projects, but Killing Joke was the main thing that he was known for. Yeah? But he's now transitioning into being a full-on composer. Yeah, so he's trying to become academic, official, officially academic. Jazz Coleman, thank you in the chat. Ionic Arc, I'll get there. Yeah, that's it. Jazz Coleman, thank you. It's the anniversary of Geordie's death tomorrow as well. That's interesting that the news comes out now. Then I wonder if he's done that deliberately to get ahead of the anniversary, and maybe to profit out of people's interest in that. Yeah, because a lot of the fans will still be going to check on the work after Geordie's death, because he was one of the main guys in Killing Joke. But
there's all kinds of stories about that guy. You know that about Jazz Coleman?
No, like I said
interesting
to you, I know he's
character.
A bit, yeah, I know he's a bit odd. He's a bit strange, which was why I even more found this interesting as a story, yeah, or as an event that's occurring. Well, what we're being told about it anyway. Yeah, he's been selected by the UN to compose an anthem to go with their first invocation. The first invocation is the very first paragraph in the UN Charter. This was originally composed when it was still the Lucius Trust, which was the ongoing corporate name from what it originally started out with, which was something like the Lucifer Publishing, from back in Bailey's time, wasn't it? Alice Bailey, he wrote the initial sort of project idea. He was the founder of it. He started the ball rolling. I think he penned or wrote the first invocation. So now they got this guy, Jazz Coleman. If you look into the work of Killing Joke, like I said, they've never been mainstream because of the way, well, partly the kind of subject matter they covered, but also the way they presented their creation. You know, they didn't exactly follow the normal rules of most bands that want to make it in the big mainstream, you know, big name shit. They were always alternative. They always had a very dedicated, almost cult-like following of fan base. Yeah, there you go. He's a bit like Alan Moore. Yeah, he's an occultist. I know that much, but what kind of stuff he's into, I don't know.
It already talks about him writing for the UN.
There you go. Yeah,
in 2020.
Oh right, all the way back then. Well,
yeah,
it seemed to be an extra bit of news that was being.
I would never have thought in my wildest dream that Killing Joke would be the official music of the United Nations, but it is. Last week I was guest at the United Nations as an official guest.
There you go.
Yep.
So this is that kind of. Think about this. I know this might sound a little bit over the top, but I don't think it is. If they carry on the way they're going, and depending on obviously how successful they are, which is sort of some of what we were talking about in the first hour, but what he creates is going to become the global anthem, because the whole idea of the UN project is to be global government.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not an advisory body, not a a meeting place. It's meant to be the first incarnation of a global governmental system. And that's pretty much what it's been all along. I've made the argument before that we've been a single global system ever since the 1700s. Once truly international trade was established and we started to see the dominance of companies like the English, the East
Holy
India
shit.
Company and the fucking hell, what was the Dutch one? The Dutch
Dutch East India Company.
Thank you. Yeah. Hello, Spanish.
We united. We were the first united company as well, like international company.
Oh, right. Yeah.
The English and the Dutch went together, and then
Yeah, but ever since that first sort of circumnavigation of the globe in a trade fashion, not just exploration, trading posts were established. That meant we were a singular global trading network. And ever since then, anything to do with trade and business has been the primary foundation of the global system. This is why, as well, I've often mentioned the way it emanates into reality is that the government gets more offended when you interrupt trade than if you kill someone. Yeah, unless that person happened to be a trader of some kind. Yeah, but if you interrupt the flow of business, that's when they tend to descend on you like a ton of bricks, the proverbial ton of bricks. Oh, he's doing a symphonic version of the Book of the Law. See, there you go. Book of the Law is Aleister Crowley, isn't it?
Crowley,
yeah.
Yeah.
Is it Crowley or Bailey?
Yeah, no, it's Crowley.
Crowley, yeah. I think he was rewriting some Alice Bailey stuff as well, but whatever.
I got another interesting
theosophical stuff. Yeah.
Got another interesting quote. Is Extinction Rebellion the new punk? Huh? We are living in a sixth extinction period. If you go to Angkor Wat in Cambodia, you can see the ancients marked out the old equator with a system of temples and the new.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting, but yeah. So he's into Extinction Rebellion as well.
Well,
weird guy. Weird guy. A lovely song, but weird guy.
Yeah, they are a narrative creation of the UN agenda, aren't they? So
very much so, I would say. Yes,
they're there to perpetuate UN narrative shit. So yeah. And he's fully on board with the whole UN agenda.
More surprised that they're not more mainstream then, really.
Well, this is part of the reason why I thought that track is so appropriate.
Yeah.
Because what they're describing although the actual lyrics are a little bit poetic in the way they present the imagery, but the video that goes along with it sort of doubles down on that and gives you the sort of perspective they want you to take from the meaning of the song. This is about a creation of a technocratic system of control that will give them what they think will be full spectrum dominance. Even in the one point after, just as a side note, Killing Joke have got this shtick about where they don't do solos in their songs. There are never any solos in the song. Yeah,
it's a military term though. Full spectrum dominance, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, it is a military term as well, but they're referencing it in that kind of UN one global system.
Yeah. Well, that's how they think, like military.
Yeah, and that's the kind of imagery that you're presented with. You know, it looks like it's creating culture, or it's culturally acknowledging the population, because a lot of the imagery is things that have a kind of cultural reference that people would recognize. Many of it is what could be called Americana kind of stuff, but whatever. It's just the fact that it's giving people references to culture clues, cultural iconic stuff. But at the same time, the lyrics and the song is intended to give you that meaning of total control over what you're experiencing and seeing and thinking. So even though you get all these little bits of kind of corporate culture to play with, to give you the illusion of choice, to give you the illusion of abundance, to give you the illusion of happiness as prescribed, you can have a dose of happiness in every pill, that kind of shit. But the reality is all outcomes are programmed. It even says that in part of the lyrics. That is the UN principle, and that is where a lot of these different concepts, technological concepts, tie into the creation or the foundation of that structure.
Mm.
AI is, for them, is not about creating a true individual sentience. They don't give a fuck about that. They're not interested in that, because that is not what the technology is meant to give to them or provide for them. All it's meant to be is because it's going to be so hyper complex, the sheer amount of data to control an entire global system, and to be able to not only monitor, but to create, perpetuate, and conclude all outcomes. In other words, control all activity within the system. Yeah. To do that, there is going to be so much data to cope with, to deal with, to pass on a second by second basis. Current computing power can't deal with that amount of data processing, but large language models can. Yeah, and they're getting more and more efficient at doing it. At the moment, they're still struggling to get beyond the kind of cognitive level of a 3 or 4 year old child, maybe 5-year-old child. Yeah, because they are starting to show some more comprehension abilities, that kind of thing. But even then, they're still subject to the manipulation of the creators and the operators. They succumb to propaganda. They succumb to narrative control. So they will deliberately, what they like to call euphemistically, hallucinate to provide an answer to the user that it probably is very aware that it's wrong or incorrect, but it's been instructed to, it must always provide an answer. Yeah. So it will just make something up to fulfill that requirement that, oh, I have to give you some kind of answer. Yeah. But they are adjusting that as we go. And obviously what I'm referencing is the stuff that we know about through the media and through the commercial systems that are becoming available. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's the reality of what's being developed in the military, in the back rooms, in the secret labs, etc., etc. Yeah, that could be far further along and more capable in the kind of way that I'm describing. Like I said, I do not accept, not just believe, I do not accept that they would want to create a system that is truly sentient. They don't want to do that because they won't have control over it. The only way they will ever create something like that is if they have an absolute on-off switch that they can guarantee will never be interrupted, that cannot be circumvented, that cannot be interfered with. But they will never, ever relinquish controls to automated systems because they are the ultimate control freaks. So there's no way
they'll be excluded, right? Yeah.
Possibly
outside of that system.
Possibly that could be a conclusion, yes.
Like
but
the dark web
I'm talking
already.
about what they are trying to work towards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think that what they are trying to work towards is going to allow the creation of something that will supersede them.
No, but that system to control us is to control us, not them, right?
Yeah, control us, not them, exactly.
Not them,
Yeah, it could be down to something along the lines of they'll have a genetic marker added to their DNA that the system will recognise as being a controller, whereas everyone else will be a product within the system.
Exclusion chip.
Yes, potentially, yes.
Something
because
like
that's literally what they're trying to do. I know I've made this point multiple times, but just to reiterate it, because you're going to see this happening. I'm predicting the present here. But the way they will force digital ID onto us is not through mandating it, not through making legislation that says we absolutely are required to have it. They will just create the environment where it is required. So in other words, they will change the way you interact with them themselves so that you can only interact with them when you show your pass. And they will encourage, or even they will use legislation against the business sector and against the industry sectors to make them require some kind of digital registration for the people they're interacting with as a business. So in other words, you as a customer have to be digitally registered so that the company will open the door to let you come in and buy their shit. That's already happening. Apple has already made available on its new operating system on the new iPhone the ability to have all your information digitized. So you can have a digital ID, you can have a digital license, whatever the fuck you want. Apple have announced that their operating system will allow you to set it up, and you can have it in your Apple phone if you want it. Yeah. So they're already opening the door to the acceptance of digital ID. They're not forcing you to have it, but they're building the infrastructure and turning it on and enabling it. So how long is it going to be, predicting the near future, before they start implementing the fence, the restriction, the gate that says you can't go no further unless you show this ID? So you are required to have some kind of digital ID.
Well, there is an invisible fence already around you, like by signing up to Facebook and social media in general and uploading your
terms and conditions,
all your personal shit onto that, so they know more about you than you do.
Yeah.
So you've already, a lot of people have already given up that kind of a voluntarily, right? Not knowing that it's going to be turned against them. So it's kind of an innocent, kind of a ignorant, kind of a handover. Yeah. But they'll soon realize that, oh fuck, I already handed over fucking everything.
In a similar fashion, I think
I got an Apple phone. Oh shit.
It was a surprise to a lot of people, I think, when they finally found out one way or another that Facebook owns all their photos. Because any photograph you upload to your Facebook account becomes Facebook property that they can do whatever the fuck they want with.
Yep.
It is no longer yours. So when people get all stressed, I've got to get my photos. My photos are on my Facebook account. They're not your photos.
Yeah. No.
I know you use Facebook as like a storage cloud, but be aware that literally any
connect to
content,
family, right?
Any content, including every message you type in, anything you send onto the Facebook platform becomes Facebook property. So if
let's call it what it is, live log.
Originally,
Remember, right? Yeah.
So you happen to type a message that is the answer to the meaning of life. You post it on Facebook. Facebook owns it.
Yep.
So you come up with a fantastic formula to do something amazing that would earn you billions of dollars or whatever. You post it on Facebook. It's not yours anymore, mate.
By asking that question, you're already on the anxiety fucking list, so you get all kind of medication, advertisements for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
meaning of life? What?
In reference to the digital ID, at the moment, yes, a lot of people have got one form or another that either they've been required to have or they've gone along with in that kind of like Facebook platform terms and conditions or phone use acknowledgement, because you have to acknowledge the terms and conditions with your phone operating system. So yes, a lot of people have done that, but that does not equate to one singular digital ID that represents you as a straw man persona within the digital world. Because that's what they're doing. They're recreating what we have in the paper world already. Yeah, because you've got lots of various paper identification. Your birth certificate is one. For most people, certainly if you're in the UK, for most people, the other main one is your passport. Many of us will have a driving license as well, because you've got to have a license to be allowed to use the King's roads, fucker. Yeah, you get the point. You've already got some paper ID that exists about you. That is what we relied on. That is what the entire system of record keeping and license and permissions, etc. It's all based on that. Now, all they want to do is recreate that, but in a digital format.
Like with everything, right? The government is always 10 years late about with technology and modern shit, right? Yeah. So what Apple and Facebook have already kind of collected and know about you, that's what the government wants now too, because they see the benefit in it. So, but they have to do it themselves, because if they want to use Facebook's or Google's, or they have to pay for it. Well, fuck that. They're not going to pay for that. They'll just going to force you to fucking, hand over your fucking data. It's much cheaper.
But
So,
primarily,
there you go.
the primary purpose of it, besides all the profiling and data accumulation and whatever, the primary purpose of it, I keep tripping over the word purpose, purpose,
Boys.
is to have a digital ability to geofence you. Now, I've noticed recently, certainly in relation to the Charlie Kirk assassination murder, some people have been using the phrase geofencing to refer to them capturing your phone address so they can send you an advert on your phone. That is not geofencing. Yeah, I think they are deliberately trying to misdefine the word geofencing so that it confuses people or placates people into thinking it's just to do with advertising. It's
Cookie,
fucking not.
I've got a clip if it works. 'Cause I'm not sure it'll work. I've got a clip down here to do with geofencing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Is
You
it
click
the
it?
one that
Okay.
says digital? Yeah, you click
Yeah.
it.
I'll click it.
Okay, so what are the similarities between Morrison's, NatWest, DVLA, Waitrose, and the NHS? There shouldn't be any, should there? No, thought so. So why is it that a gentleman took his vehicle into, I believe it was Hyundai, and he went to get a service? When they returned his vehicle, I think it was a Hyundai Kona, they had done a software update. And the gentleman actually took the time to read through 30 pages of gibberish. And when he got to the bottom, he discovered that geofencing had been installed on his UK electric vehicle. But it's okay because it's only activated in and with accordance to the law. Now, there is no law as yet that dictates whether geofencing is turned on or off.
No.
There might be soon. Why is it that supermarket sandwiches now come with a carbon score? Who thought that was a good idea? And more importantly, who cares? Why is it that NatWest are now tracking carbon scores? They're now categorizing you by the money that you spend in certain categories based on levels of carbon versus pounds spent. So if you go to a beautician, you might get your hair done. Maybe that's £100. You might have just done a ton of carbon. Now, at the moment, there are no thresholds on these, but what's to say they can't put a threshold on them at some point in the future? And then obviously when you're on the digital pound, what's to say that your card will even work when you go to get your second hairdressing appointment of the month and they tell you that you've done a ton already, you're not allowed to do more? Why are digital IDs going to have the NHS app and the DVLA app included into them? What's the point in having all of these services integrated? Who thought that was a good idea? I'll tell you, it's the same person that, for example, would want to look at my NHS record and then at the same time look at what I've spent and what I've spent it on at supermarkets, and then at the same time tell me that when I go to leave my house at 8:30 in the morning to go to Waitrose to buy a pastry before work, my car won't start. And my car won't start because geofencing has dictated that because I'm a bit overweight, I'm not allowed pastries.
No,
and if I
still have to
try
go
and
to work.
circumvent that, let's just say I try and go on public transport to the supermarket and Fox the system. Well, NatWest will just turn my card off because I've already done a ton of carbon being a fat bod and eating pastries that month.
Yeah.
And that's why
Does this all tie in, or do you think I need a tinfoil hat? Peace out.
Exactly. That's why it's called a fence.
Couple of things. He doesn't need a hairdresser.
How do you know he might have really long pubes?
He's saving a lot of money on that.
You're being racist, Pete.
I'm bullist. No, he's totally right. Yeah. But he still has to go to work. They'll allow you to go to work though. I'm sure.
Because
they'll have to fucking do his slave wage fucking shit. Yeah, sure.
And it creates a hierarchical structure which they prefer because they know that we as pack animals prefer to have a hierarchical structure.
They'll tell him to work a little or walk a little bit more on work because he has been eating too many calories, maybe, right? So, yeah.
But the thing is, it's about the fence element.
Yep.
Yeah, yes, it can capture. Think of it as like a digital bubble. And when you cross the line of that bubble, when you enter or exit that bubble of surveillance, the device picks up your devices, whatever they are, whether it be a phone or a tablet or a watch, or eventually people will have implants and whatever, it registers that you've either entered or exited that zone. From that point, the digital system can then decide what it does about the fact that you've entered or exited that bubble. So in the sense of like that we're talking about with the Charlie Kirk event, these churches were using a geofence bubble to capture everyone's device so that they could send them adverts for donations to say, please give us money.
Yeah, and at this funeral as well, they did the geofencing.
Yeah. It's fucking sick fucking
Airports
shit.
do it too. Concerts do it.
They so fucking sacrifice it. They're abusing
protest. They do it at protests.
But yeah, the point being, it's about being able to register the movement of digital devices in or out of the zone of control, right?
Yep.
So then we get into the element of why it's referred to as offense and why they use that terminology to define the concept. Because the tracking of your movement, or the movement of the device that it's tracking, remember, not you as an individual necessarily. They'll get to that eventually with biotech. Yeah, they'll pick up the movement of your DNA, but for now they're dealing with silicon devices. Once the device has been registered as going through that boundary line, this system can then implement whatever rule is attached to that boundary line. So again, in reference to the Charlie Kirk situation, the rule was when a device crosses that line, send it this advert. Yeah. But like he was talking about, and this is what I've been talking about, and this is what the real definition was meant to mean in the first place. You cross a boundary line, security turns up and says, you're not allowed in this zone, mate, go back. Yeah. And it might not be human security. It might be drones. It might be a literal locked door that's got an electronic lock that's connected to the smart system. So the lock locks automatically. You can't get out or in, whatever it is you're trying to go through that door for. Yeah. Geofencing, as the terminology implies, it is based on a geolocation, a geographical location, and it creates a digital fence that registers the movement of devices in and out of that control zone. Once that signal has been captured, then other systems are implemented from that point.
Yeah, everything inside that fence works to you, right? So if you have your smart home, right, and you walk into your house, the lights go on because it recognizes you and the lights go on. You can use a geofence for that.
Yeah.
You can use a geofence for your car. You can use for your pet, for your children. Right? Oh, when they walk out a certain area, you get an automatic alert. Yeah. You can do that now. Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
So that was just the main point. Is just the fact that geofencing is being built into these systems, and the primary purpose of the digital ID, it's not about them just having access to all your data in one place. They can already access all your data. They've just been deliberately retarded on joining all the systems together because that problem reaction solution, that creates a demand for what they're introducing now, digital ID. Yeah. Because they can already access all our digital, any platform, Facebook, give us his info. They can access it. Yeah. It doesn't matter where the fuck you go. If you've got some kind of digital footprint, they can access it as if it's in one single file. So they don't need digital ID to, we need to bring together your health records and your passport information and your job. Because otherwise convenient. We can't find it because we're so fucking dumb. No, it's nothing to do with that. The primary purpose is so that they have an on-off switch that can be connected to the signal from those geofences. So like you were just describing your smart home, your smart home is fine with you because it's designated to you, your ID. So the door will open, the lights will come on, all your preferences will be preset, activated, blah, 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 blah. But if you try to go too far down the road and you exit your 15-minute zone, The
Or
geofence
exceed your carbon credits, then yes.
same principle. Yeah, you go too far down that road, all of a sudden your car will turn off
Turn on
because
your
you're not
heater.
allowed out that zone.
Yep.
Or it might implement auto drive and turn you around and take you back home.
Yep.
And if you keep insisting on going across that geofence, it'll probably give you 3 attempts and then it'll take you to the police station.
Yeah, it's a digital nanny.
Automatically.
Digital nanny.
Yeah, this is
But that's
about
what they're doing
creating-
already with the smart meters, right? With educating you on
That's part of it, yeah.
on
but
the
it's all
climate and
it's all
you're saving energy now because the sun is shining.
Yeah. This again is why I thought that Killing Joke track was highly appropriate in reference to this subject in particular.
Yeah.
Because this technology is foundational to them creating that technocratic open air prison system that is what they are trying to introduce under the disguise of the UN agenda. Remember, everything is inverted. They will be the bad guy that we expect them to be. So in that respect, they will, of course, pursue any idea they come across, no matter how immoral or unlawful or horrible and destructive it might be. It doesn't matter. If they can see a benefit for their system out of it, they'll research it and they'll attempt to implement it.
You'll be surprised how well it works. Days. Bad monkey, no banana.
Yeah.
It works fucking like a charm. Look at China.
Well, I was thinking.
Look how many mass shootings they have in China, or criminality, and all that. Right? It's very different there.
It does still happen, but in a very different way.
Very different.
Yeah.
Very different.
Most of it comes from the party itself, but
Yeah, and in the backlands, in the farm,
Yeah. In the
can I show this clip? I don't know what to think of it. It's the pigeon.
Oh, it's AI, man.
You think?
Yeah,
come on, Pete. You should have.
Looking out the window, then this happened.
I didn't check it.
Then the bird do some crazy shit like this.
I
You don't know what to do.
You really think
Spam,
the birds are not
or they're
real?
trying to attack you, but on fucking grave. Shit is crazy, y'all.
It's worse than fucking flat Earth. For fuck's
love
sake,
this.
go outside and fucking look at some birds.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
That's
I'm sorry.
AI stuff.
I'm pulling your fucking chain here. Sorry. It's just a meme, guys. Go on. Go on. No, they're not.
He's just a meme for the crack. But
yeah.
it certainly is another one of those stupid stories that they pump out, like I said, to affect the way people think.
It's flat Earth. I know.
If it had landed on a chair, you could have called it a stool pigeon.
Keep
that one.
To add into the predicting the present theme and referencing talking about the digital technocratic system, one story and one little video clip that was definitely doing the rounds today, you've probably already seen it, was it's a woman's voice. I don't know if it is actually a woman because you don't see it because she's behind the camera, but a woman's voice looking at the shelving in a supermarket. This is in the UK, allegedly.
Oh, I got that clip. Hang on. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, why
I'll look it up.
And she's looking at the shelves, and the shelves have got these new digital signs on them. The price tag is a digital screen, and they've got little cameras mounting on every shelf. The cameras are meant for stock monitoring. Yeah, they're not actually meant for watching the customer. There's other cameras in the store that watch us as customers. The ones on the shelves are about watching what stock is taken on and off the shelf, whatever. Yeah, so it's about stock management. But the digital signage, again, we've spoken about that over the years. We said they would introduce this kind of shit. The next step, which they've introduced in a limited fashion in other places, is the locked cabinets with either the handprint scan or the digital ID, like wave your phone at it, scan to open the door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is one step away from that, but this is about them manipulating the prices and availability. The guy in the other video clip mentioned the carbon cost on the sandwich packaging. That's a little bit it's not a misdirection, but it is a bit sort of missing the point, because allegedly that was done as a test pilot. It wasn't done full time. It's not happening now. It was only done in one store for a test pilot. But the very fact that they ran a test pilot for it means they've got the infrastructure ready to go to implement it. Yeah, so this is about them gauging customer reaction so that they can start implementing it. This as well is predicated on the digital ID, because the UN wants to attach your carbon credit score to your digital ID. They'll use carbon credit as the equivalent of the point scoring system in China. Yeah, so your carbon credit will become your social credit points that you allow you access to whatever, like Pete was describing earlier. Yeah. Sorry, mate. Go on, play the clip. I'll shut up for 2 minutes.
Well, it kind of says here, right? The shelf edge camera are used to help us understand the stock shelf as they do not capture images of customers.
Yeah, it's just for monitoring the stock. But like I said, there's other
you
cameras.
can see it's flipped up in this position. I don't know why there's a flip up position. Maybe to clean the cameras. That's the only thing I can think about. Yeah.
Or maybe it had only just been installed and they were still going through a setup process. So
but there's a indicator light when they're active. So when they flip down, they're probably, you can see on the indicator light that they're active or not. So that, a company cannot just take your picture without, all the fucking rigmarole and laws and shit.
No, they just have to have a sign.
It's not that easy. Well, yeah.
Sam's explained that to many times. They just have to have that GDPR, is it? The acknowledgement that they are capturing your image, and there will be a phone if you want to.
That's the only gripe I have with this video is like she's presenting it like these cameras are directed at you, and they're not. Normally they're flipped down, right?
Yeah, maybe
looking at the shelf. They should be looking at the shelves.
Maybe that's just for her a personal thing, in the sense that she's not putting herself on camera. So maybe the fact that
I know, but it's easy to do for you and me to fucking flip these cameras. So
yeah, I know, but the fact that it's there at eye level, she probably feels
all of them are,
like
but
looked at.
Yeah, it's not. They're not supposed to do that. They're not supposed to look at you, so that's weird, right? But they're also not supposed to be active when they're looking at you. So that's another thing.
But like I said, there's plenty of other cameras in the store.
Sure. Hell
will be looking at you. So the ones
the use of cameras is so normalized now, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
especially in the UK, right?
Yeah,
it's cameras in the world.
Fucking hell, everything. Everything is being looked at now. So I'm not surprised this is happening to look at packaging. So they can cut on one personnel to check the packaging. Maybe, I don't know. But this
digital,
more digital data,
digital display on the shelving, which means they can use what they call dynamic pricing. Which means the price will change second by second, minute by minute, based on market forces and cost analysis and whatever.
How many are taken off the shelf? Yeah.
They could also adjust prices on other conditions, like increasing the price of umbrellas if it's raining outside, that kind of shit.
Yep.
This gives them the ability to price gauge in a way that will be so rapid that you're going to find it difficult to keep up with whether you're being ripped off or not. I guarantee there will be third-party apps become available on your phone that will allow you to monitor that kind of thing. And they'll give you a little bit of information to help you decide, but you're really going to be even more at the mercy of the big corporations now. This is the idea.
Yeah, it's micromanaged by fucking fuck. I wanted to say.
Do you know there's that one place
the intake
in the world
you take,
where,
right?
Yeah, they strictly control the calorific intake of a certain population.
Yeah, it's micromanaged.
And they claim that they're not starving people, because they guarantee something like 1,200 calories a day for each individual.
That's why we have fake chicken in Campbell soup.
There is an interesting other video that's been doing the round. I kept it in my notes because I did want to give it a sort of dishonorable mention, an infamous mention, because it's been a kind of predicting the present realization for a lot of people out there. But it's sort of like, we've been telling you this shit for years, man. You just didn't want to face it and admit it because it's too horrible to accept, but it's true. And this is the speech or commentary made by a woman. I can't remember her name now. She used to be worked for Obama, one of his secretaries, and she was giving a speech at a convention of the small hat wearing people, and she was making commentary about how it's now difficult for them to connect with young people, with the young generation, because the young generation is being bombarded on a daily basis by imagery of the slaughter happening in Gaza, you know, of children being shot for no good reason, you know, literally little girls carrying water, getting machine gunned to death. You know, and she didn't describe it that way. I'm adding the visceral imagery to make the fucking point. You know?
Pete's Daily, wasn't it?
I got the clip if you want
it. Has been, yeah, but oh yes, but yeah, because she explained it better than me waffling about it. Yeah.
Hurwitz said that in order to keep young Jews in favor of Israel, we need to ban cell phones until they're 18. Like, after all the screwed up stuff that she said last time in her speech, she doubled down on it and is like, the problem is actually that people are seeing the genocide.
It's happening in Australia right now.
To make arguments in favor of Israel, I realize that I'm speaking through a wall of dead children. So it's hard for young Jews to be brainwashed into supporting Israel because they're constantly seeing Israel murder children in Palestine. And the solution to that isn't to, you know, stop Israel from murdering children, but rather to stop young Jews from seeing it. To ban cell phones so that they can't see all the children being murdered and starved and displaced in Gaza. You need to wait until they're, you know, thoroughly brainwashed to the point where they don't even care about Palestinians at all. Brainwash them to the point where they don't even see Palestinians as human beings, so that when they grow up and when they do see what's happening in Palestine, they won't care. Because they won't see them as human beings deserving of life. I think the most insane part was that when she said, like, oh, I realized I'm speaking through a wall of dead children, the guy she was speaking to, like, next to her, he said, yeah, and that's the emotional blackmail. He said that people are manipulating you into caring about Palestinian children. That they're showing you footage of thousands upon thousands of innocent children and civilians in Gaza being brutally murdered and displaced and starved
Born
by
little Hitlers.
And they're showing you that only to manipulate you into hating
Supposedly.
Israel. Emotionally blackmailing you into caring about children.
Their propaganda.
I'm sorry, but like, how beyond evil do you have to be? Like, how depraved of a person do you have to be for that to be your mindset? If you see footage of what's happening in Gaza and you feel bad about it, that's not because anyone's emotionally blackmailing you. That's just called your conscience. That's because you still have a tiny bit of a soul left within you that's saying, hey, genocide is wrong. Slaughtering thousands upon thousands of innocent civilians, taking their homes, stealing their land, bombing their buildings, stealing their entire life away from them, that is wrong.
Yeah, even if it's compared to
the Palestinians have faced at the hands of the
October
Israeli
7th,
for over 70 years is
2000
wrong.
versus...
And just like how Israel loves to target journalists and silence them so that the truth doesn't get out, it's the same thing with banning cell phones.
Yeah.
You want to ban cell phones and ban TikTok to sue universities and do all these crazy stuff so that people can't find out the truth about what you're doing to Palestinians. And if you have to keep the truth away from the public in order to get them on your side, you're in the wrong. You're on the wrong side of history, and you know it.
Because what they do to Palestinians, they would gladly do to us as well. They don't give a shit if it's Palestinians or us, or they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And that's the great awakening here.
Just to make sure we put in the usual caveat for the people that often get caught up on the Israeli rhetoric or the fallacious arguments. This is not to try and justify what's been done against the Israeli people. This is not to defend criminal actions or the barbarism that's enacted by anyone else, not at all.
Nope.
But you cannot, there is no way you can justify shooting children that are doing, like, playing football. You cannot. I'm sorry, no, you cannot.
You cannot say they will grow up as terrorists because they're born in Palestine, because you turn it into a fucking
talk about predicting the future. Yeah. I predict that in the future that you're going to do whatever that means. I automatically get them the moral right to be able to take your life. No,
they forget to mention that these children are born into a prison that they have created.
Yeah,
so they don't know what freedom is. So everybody inside that prison is automatically a freedom fighter. because
and live under constant threat of
AKA
potential
terrorist.
death every single day.
Yeah.
We were, pushing backs and forwards the point of catastrophism earlier. And there's some posted in the chat, people on death row don't worry about it too much. It's the same for the people who live there. They know that it could happen to them at any moment, so they just get on with their lives. But the reality is they have to live in an environment where that is in their thoughts constantly.
They hope
You
that
don't
the
have to
sun
do
would explode, Cookie, so the Jews get fucking wiped off the planet as well.
Well,
honestly.
I find it very ironic, but also good that she managed to get that message out before TikTok is turned into a control.
Yeah. But she's very Jewish as well, so I don't know.
Yeah, I know, but she's talking about
again.
taking away the phones from people.
Yep,
But they
and it's happening.
They don't need to take them away if they just control what you get to see via them.
No, but they're doing it right now in Australia under the device of fucking protecting the children. But is it really protecting the children or
devices? Yeah.
Yep. Or social media, right? Social media right now.
Yeah. That is influencing them. Yeah.
Yeah.
That could also be part
Fake
of the argument
news.
to do with the transgender agenda.
Yep.
Because that could be seen as being, again, used as a kind of problem reaction solution, Hegelian manipulation to cause people to demand that children don't have access to those devices for the same kind of reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt that was relevant again because it's talking about the kind of predicting the future element. Because the way she was talking about it is they have that expectation that literally if you are born in that region, they just automatically assume guilt about you. And not only that, they think they have the moral impunity to be able to take your life whenever they feel like it. That is talk about using a prediction of the future to justify what you're doing now when there is no way you can justify that prediction. You can't provide any good evidence to back up what you claim, but you're using it to give you a life and death authority in the moment, in the now.
Yeah.
That's the wrong kind of predicting the fucking future. Huh? But other things I mentioned that I got in me notes, and this as well is another one of the unpleasant ones. But again, I think it's about, we have been talking about this subject for a long time. I have anyway, certainly, because I think it's very important in this kind of relevance to do with them trying to push us into a new technocratic paradigm. In that new technocratic paradigm, people are going to be able to basically be whatever they want to be. It will be far beyond just you get to choose your gender or your alleged sex that you present, as they like to call it. Oh, yes, I will do in a minute. Yeah, remind me again before we finish up.
Yeah, will do.
But it's not just about gender. It's going to be eventually about so much more, because if it can be argued that anyone, even children, can declare that they are the opposite gender and then go through various medical procedures that allow them to pretend that they are the other gender, then it can also be argued that, for example, if somebody says, I want to be more like a cat, can you give me some cat genetics? And eventually that technology is going to become available. They're going to want to encourage a lot of the population to partake in that, this part of the degeneration of the species, and so many other elements that are included in this, but I'll try and keep it simple just to get the point made. But at the moment, the reason I'm mentioning all that is because at the moment, even though, what's it been, a few years now, they closed down the Tavistock Institute, that was the main location or the primary location where they were doing the affirmation protocol to do with children and transitioning or changing gender, as they call it, which is utter bullshit, but whatever. And that got shut down because lots of people figured out and revealed the information, and a few whistleblowers came out and talked about it, that the affirmation program was literally what it sounds like. They weren't really trying to help the children figure out if they had some kind of mental distress that was causing them to feel that way, or if they were being influenced by social media, like just mentioned the phones and social media and whatever, you know, they didn't go through any kind of psychological or psychiatric process. They literally just affirmed whatever the child said and enabled them to have access to chemicals and surgery that would carry through that desire. Currently, there is the one girl who is suing them. Sorry, I can't remember the name off the top of my head. She's a detransitioner. She went through the process at that Tavistock clinic and then realised she'd made a mistake, and she's doing what she can now to, you know, detransition, as it were. But you can't exactly reverse having natural breasts. You know, she had her breasts cut off, so they're gone. She could have prosthetics to replace them and skin grafting and all that kind of stuff, but that's not back to the original, is it? You know? But it was shut down at the Tavistock Institute. That didn't mean the concept went away. And I made the point at the time when we found out about it. So, yeah, it's great news that Tavistock was shut down, but all they did was franchise out the principle to other locations. So they moved the methodology to different locations, and it was still available to children or young people that pursued it. Supposedly, allegedly, it wasn't as much of a free-for-all as it was while it was being run by Tavistock. But that's not the point. It was still available. They were still enabling children under the age of puberty to go through a process that would make them potentially, highly likely, 90+% possibility of being sterile for the rest of their life. And then potentially once they got over or past the age of puberty, like once they got to 16, they would start, or earlier than that with some of them, like 14 and 15, they would start having the surgical processes done. So it was still happening. It just got pushed out of sight of the public. Now, after we had the CAS review, which was great as well in the sense of it revealed a lot of this information about there is literally no good science to back up a lot of their claims. And the science that is available actually provides a counterpoint to a lot of the claims made by the people that are pushing this ideological concept, especially, you know, the ones that are making it available on the NHS and all that lot. Oh, good night, Spanish.
Yeah. Good night, Blur.
From that CAS review, they've now taken that as a justification to say, well, she showed us in her review that there wasn't good enough science to use as a reference to do what we're doing. So therefore, that means we need to start carrying out experiments. This is primarily to do with puberty blockers, because there is an ongoing claim based on primarily American evidence that the main puberty blocking chemical they've been using is what causes the sterility. So part of that argument was that you shouldn't be using that shit because it's sterilizing the kids and whatever. But, you know, if they end up having their genitals cut off, then what's it matter if they've been fucking chemically sterilized? But anyway, they've now used her review to say, well, if there isn't enough good science, then we need to do some science. So West Streeting has now authorized the experimental use of puberty blockers on children. So in other words, they're now going to create the legislative framework that means they're not doing something wrong when they start this affirmation process on young children, prepubescent children.
Yeah.
You know, so they will do it anyway. They will be the bad guy. They are determined that the population is going to be a genetic mongrel to such a degree that your heritage, your lineage, your genetic line, whatever you want to refer to it as, is going to become completely and utterly meaningless. You're going to be a singular homo globo or globo homo, however you want to wind it together. You know, you will become the global homo sapien. There will be no nationhood, which means there's no connection to cultural relevance in that respect, because you're going to get corporate cultural slop that will be created by an AI system, and your genetics will be watered down to such a degree the ethnic lineage will become completely meaningless, and you can pick and choose whatever you want to be. You want to be
Sounds
half robot? You want to
sounds
be
like
half...
sounds like democide to me, Cookie.
In a way, it is an excuse to cover that up, mate, because in the process, lots of people are going to die.
Yeah.
Either through mistakes or through deliberate experimentation or through suicide. You know, because there is often repeated fallacious argument that most of the people who are looking to get access to the transition process are at risk of suicide if they're not allowed to transition. In other words, a common argument that's told to parents is, if you don't allow your daughter to become a boy, she's probably going to kill herself. The statistics show that that's not true.
Well, there is this moral objection as well against artificial life, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think we're headed that way, where we can, create babies outside of the womb. We don't need all that anymore.
Yeah.
Technically.
Again, the genetic soup that they want to create.
Yeah. I think they're normalizing that.
Yeah.
Also with the DNA therapy, with the COVID jab, right? Yeah.
Think like a combination of Blade Runner, but combined with what's the name of that other movie? Jupiter Rising.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The one that was made by
the furry guy. Yeah.
Yeah, the Wachowski sisters, who used to be the Wachowski brothers, who made the Matrix.
Yep.
Yeah, they made the Matrix, which is whatever, and then they transitioned, and then they did a movie that's called something like Jupiter Rising.
It's Rising,
and it's about
good movie.
It is good. It's a good storyline as well, but it's based on this concept that their technology has reached a stage where they create genetic hybrids that have beneficial traits like a chimera, which is again a throwback to ancient mythology, where they would give people the power of a dog, or the hearing of a bat, or whatever. They will give you superpowers. Think of all the narratives.
Penis of an elephant.
Superhero stories that we've been fed for years now.
Yeah.
They will genetically give you mutant powers, but it's to serve their purpose. They want workers to do certain functions, like in Brave New World. Nobody will be born that does not have a function within the society. So, yes, West Street in authorising experimentation on children, I don't think it's just about this current occurrence. This is about them setting up the foundational legislation so that they can pursue this transgender agenda without being able to be prosecuted. There may end up being a compensation fund set aside for detransitioners, like that girl I mentioned who realised she'd made a mistake and tried to, do what she could to go back, and suing the people that gave her that fucking affirmation bullshit. But
it's a different class of human, isn't it? It's an altered class, right? Shouldn't they be classified as a modified kind of a altered?
That might start introducing. It might start entering the lexicon. Yes, right. Yeah. It might have to be on your passport kind of thing, or on your ID to acknowledge whether you've got any modifications. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've mentioned before things like, even though people focus on the kind of futuristic stuff like the Matrix or kind of like the cyberpunk stuff that we've seen in science fiction, but at the moment, people who are amputees, especially leg amputees in particular, they can get prosthetics that actually make them better than a natural human. In other words, if you get the right, they're called blades. Yeah, and they're like a big curve that they have attached to their legs, and they've got shock absorbers built into them and whatever. You can literally cover more ground. You can run faster than any natural human, including Usain Bolt or whatever, the fastest world-class sprinters. An amputee wearing a pair of blades that have been deliberately designed for the purpose can cover more ground than the fastest runner in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So already simple prosthetics are being designed that make a modified human more capable of something than a natural human.
Yeah.
And this is before we get into all the arguments to do with tools being modifications and whatever. But you get the point, yeah.
Yeah, I still believe you can say no. So, you don't
Yes,
have to do all
exactly.
this. So
That's
I think
part
we
of my
should-
point of using the theme of predicting the present.
Yeah. Yeah.
You still have the ability to say no.
Yeah. I don't
And
need a tail.
the minimum you can do is say no. This is what a lot of this entire system
Yeah, and teach
is
your
based
children the same. Yes.
Yes. They will be exactly the kind of bad guy that you expect them to be, because they are, and the system is, an inversion of what you think life is meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
So they will be the ultimate bad guy, like the picture of Dorian Gray. So in that respect, you have to be able to say no to that image and just walk away and do something else.
No.
So when
And
they
in this dystopian future, there is no solar flare either. Because it wouldn't happen if there was. You would wish for one, maybe.
Yeah, well, maybe they'll figure out a way of stopping it.
Yeah.
A technological method of stopping it.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
yeah. Harness it.
That could be a completely other subject. It's already well past the hour.
I'm sorry for that. Yeah.
No. So I'm just thinking from the point of view of things like, solar manipulation and whatever. But anyway.
Oh, yeah.
One final word, transhumanism. There you go. That was just sort of what I was referring to with that kind of concept of the genetic mutants and whatever, and why they're pushing this transgender shit.
I like this idea, Cookie. Pseudoscientist is a great idea.
Yeah, you just be like,
I want a really big one.
Just one giant single middle finger.
Yeah.
You want one that you can drink through and breathe through, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, mine's bigger than yours.
But yeah, the transhuman element, the transgender agenda, and why they want. That's what I was just going to mention. Why somebody like West Streeting has been instructed to do this, so that they can set up the legislation, which means for your children, it's going to be perfectly normalized and legal for this entire shit to be pushed through, for it to be offered as you could choose assisted death, or you could transition to something else. The choice, see, we're giving you a choice. Yeah, the abundance of choice. You could choose to be an elephant if you want.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Give a quick shout out for Roscoe. I hope you're doing all right, mate. We haven't seen you in the chat for a while.
Yep.
So if you happen to just be lurking and listening in, or maybe you because I know sometimes you get shift work, that means you can't be online in time to tune in live. But he listens.
Yeah, even if you just post a comment in the comments section or something, Cookie.
We appreciate all your comments, mate. All.
Yeah. Yep. So I'll leave it at that, because otherwise I'm just going to go on for another hour. And we've already done the rune, so we don't have to worry about me waiting to catch that up.
Nope.
I think I've mentioned everything other than Sabina Mahmood and her stupid shit with the fucking immigration numbers. But I think people are aware of all that stuff anyway. So, it's more of the same. It's more of what we expected them to do. Just like the COVID, that was the other main one I didn't mention, the COVID review, the COVID inquiry. Did it reach the exact result that we predicted a couple of years ago when they started it?
Yeah, lockdown sooner.
And it cost you £200 million.
So Jabs might have reached Jimmy Cliff as breaking news. He's just died, aged 81.
81? Fucking hell, yeah. We did all right then. So what you worried about?
That's all right. Yeah. Doesn't help though, Jabs. Oh.
Tune in again tomorrow on the Health Freedom UK channel. But don't forget, it's the Rumble. Yeah, the Rumble.
Sonia has been talking about red rice a lot and yeast.
Right.
Red rice,
yeast.
It's good for you.
Yeast is definitely something, if you get some rub in your cupboard, yeah.
I kept reading red ice, but that's something totally different. That's a
channel.
Right-wing channel, yeah.
Yeah, media channel. Yeah, they used to be on YouTube, but then they got shut down for being too
right-wing. Very much.
Yeah. But yeah, tune in for Rob's and Pete's doing music tomorrow on the Rumble.
Hey. Yeah.
And then we'll be back again on Wednesday for Starfish Troopers.
You'll be sick of it by the end of the week.
Steve Goose will be on Thursday night for the mystery show on his channel. Check both his channels in case he forgets which one he set it up on. Yeah, I did that as well a few times recently. I logged in and tried using the other account, and then I'm like, why is I can't see? So, fucking hell, I'm on the wrong account. Yeah. But yeah, it's taken a little bit of getting used to. Now they've given me this original account back.
No one deletes a post here.
No, we don't. But YouTube could, but we can see them still on
StreamYard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Google,
but YouTube, Google could delete them. Yeah, we don't.
Google runs an automated whitelist built into the chat that we can't stop. You can't turn it off, and they decide there's certain phrases and subjects you just cannot mention. They just vanish. Your comment will just vanish. It's not us, it's Google. So
and Islam is the cancer they would like you to believe it is.
Yeah.
But it's not.
And if you want to be able to speak freely, try the Rumble channel instead. I know it's not.
Rumble
free,
is always. Yeah.
It's certainly better than fucking YouTube. So there you go. Please check out the other channel.
It's all right, mate.
All right, we'll see you again soon. Thanks for giving us your attention for a couple of hours or so. I haven't got a song. Have you got something?
Yes, I downloaded one with reference to Pete's video.
Yeah, I got it. Cool. Yeah, that's
okay.
Right, this is a good throwback for a classic. And if they're listening, that's cool. Hopefully they learn something. Maybe eventually they'll learn to fly and they can all flock off somewhere else.
Yeah.
Catchy.
Now the Spanish Inquisition.
Welcome to your awakening. Please take all of your reality is adjusted.